Imagine a machine designed for one single purpose, not to defend a nation but to guarantee the end of the world automatically. No president turning a key. No general giving an order. No last-minute negotiations. Just a system waiting in silence, listening for signs of nuclear war, ready to unleash retaliation on its own. During the darkest years of the Cold War, when the United States and the Soviet Union stood on the edge of annihilation, the fear of a surprise strike was constant and terrifyingly real. American silos were on alert. Submarines prowled the oceans. But behind the Iron Curtain, Soviet engineers were building something even more chilling. A system designed to ensure that even if their entire leadership was wiped out, the response would still come. Automatic. Unstoppable. Final. To understand why such a machine could exist, you must enter the psychology of the Cold War. In Washington and Moscow, planners believed the greatest danger was decapitation, a sudden strike that destroyed command centers and killed political leaders. The logic of nuclear deterrence depended on certainty. The enemy had to believe that if they attacked, they would be destroyed in return. But what if communication lines were cut? What if there was no one left to give the order? For the Soviet Union, this nightmare scenario drove the creation of a system that many in the West would later call the dead hand. The idea was as simple as it was horrifying. If the Soviet Union detected evidence of a massive nuclear attack, seismic shockwaves, radiation spikes, or sudden silence from military headquarters, a command system would activate. Special rockets would launch, not carrying warheads, but broadcasting launch orders directly to intercontinental missiles scattered across the country. Those missiles would then rise from their silos, streaking toward targets across the United States and its allies. Even if Moscow were vaporized, the retaliation would still occur. The message was unmistakable. You cannot win. You cannot escape. If we fall, you fall with us. For years, American intelligence heard whispers of such a system but struggled to confirm its existence. Satellite images revealed new bunkers and communications hinted at unusual protocols. Analysts debated whether it was propaganda or something real. The concept seemed too extreme even for an era of brinkmanship. Yet as tensions escalated in the 1980s, both superpowers poured resources into ensuring survivability. The United States invested in airborne command posts to direct war from the sky. The Soviets took a different path. They built a mechanism designed to remove human hesitation from the equation entirely. Think about what that means. Every nuclear decision in history had involved human judgment. During the Cuban Missile Crisis, Kennedy and Khrushchev weighed consequences and stepped back from the brink. There were false alarms, radar glitches and computer errors, where human intuition prevented catastrophe. But an automated system changes that dynamic. A machine does not hesitate. It follows parameters. If those parameters are met, it acts. Reports after the collapse of the Soviet Union suggested the system was operational in the 1980s, activated during periods of extreme tension. Sensors monitored the Earth for explosions. Only if multiple conditions were satisfied would the system proceed. Even then, a small human layer remained in hardened bunkers, but the logic was brutal. Deterrence through inevitability. For Americans learning about this later, the revelation was deeply unsettling. The idea of a system guaranteeing global annihilation without direct command felt like science fiction. Yet it was rooted in strategic calculations. Soviet planners believed that by creating a doomsday mechanism, they removed the temptation for a first strike. In their view, it preserved peace by making war unthinkable. But there is a chilling paradox. The more each side sought to guarantee deterrence, the more unstable the systems became. Layers of automation and hair-trigger alerts narrowed the margin for error. A misinterpreted sensor reading could cascade into total war. When the Soviet Union dissolved in 1991, the threat receded, but questions lingered. Was the system dismantled? Some former officials claim it remains as a dormant safeguard, ready to be reactivated. This story reveals the depth of human fear. Each side believed the other capable of the worst, building mechanisms that brought the world closer to destruction than most realized. Imagine a night in the 1980s. Radar screens flicker, a sensor registers a shockwave, and in a bunker deep underground, a system waits to decide the fate of billions. It was built not in madness but in calculated fear. Even today, as AI and autonomous weapons emerge, the dead hand remains a stark reminder of what happens when distrust reaches its ultimate conclusion.